See what's on the old telly, shall we?
No credit, no problem. So come on down.
Boy, who'd buy a car from that snake?
Green screen liqueur. Because green
Yummy.
is king.
I know what you're thinking. You think that I'm rad.
Interesting.
I just said rad.
Boy, they'll give anybody a record deal these days, won't they? You know, this is an interesting technique that they're using. If you look closely, his movements are in slow motion, but his lips are synced to his lyrics. I bet if people knew how to achieve this effect, well, it'd be another tool in their arsenal, and heck, it's just plain fun to do. So that settles it. This week, we dive into the Overcrank world of speed effects and show how to pull off this cool music video effect with some simple tools and a little creativity. Enough of this. Now, I remember the first time that I ever really paid attention to this effect, and it was in a music video by the Beastie Boys for the song So What You Want. That features the boys jumping and rapping about in slow motion, but their lips are synced perfectly. Now, the effect gives a dreamlike motion to movements while the artist appears to be singing their song. We see this constantly in music videos, and it's somewhat become a staple. Now, it doesn't take a genius to study this and figure out what they did to achieve it, but it hadn't been possible for budget-restricted folks like you and me for a really long time. Now, most of us think of slow motion as pretty cool. There's a certain cinematic quality to seeing an image creep along. Details are eye-popping, and the movements become fluid and almost unworldly. It's probably one of my favorite things to work into a production, and I'm probably a little guilty of a gratuitous slow motion here and there. But at least I can admit it, and I'm willing to live with it. And slow motion technically involves both a camera and a playback method. In the old days, that playback method was a film projector. Today, well, that's not always the case. But slow motion is achieved by acquiring your frames at a faster rate than what they're projected, or to time base at what they're played back. The term overcranking became the technical term for this, as it involved overcranking a camera faster than the normal frame rate of 24 frames per second. Now, while doing so, you're capturing more stills that happen in a 1 second period, like so. So, if we were to think of this garage door as 1 second in time, then if we captured 48 frames for every second that we shoot, well, we'd have twice the amount of frames than if we'd captured 24. Now, playing back these 48 frames for every second of film or video at a playback speed of 24 frames per second, the result is slow motion, or a 2-to-1 slowdown factor. All right, now there is another method of obtaining slow motion in your productions, but it's done in the edit bay and not in the camera. And it's available in most NLEs. It's usually called time stretching. It's a synthesized version of slow motion, meaning that if you shoot at 30 frames per second, but you want to make your footage look like it was twice as slow, well, you'll have needed 60 frames per second. By time stretching, your NLE builds in or duplicates the extra frame that it needs. So here and here. Then what it does is kind of perform a little dissolve between the two frames. So it keeps building frames and dissolving between them, building frames, dissolving between them, all the way down your timeline until you achieve slow motion. Well, sort of, I guess. But certainly not as smooth as authentic overcranking. So the way I see it, we have two ways to create our effect today. We either use overcranking method, or we time stretch our footage to obtain slow motion. Me, I'm going to be using the overcranking method because I've got a camera here that provides me with variable frame rates up to 60 frames per second. But I'm not going to leave those of you who don't have this option out in the cold. No, sir. The same principles are going to apply. You just need to time stretch your footage in order to obtain slow motion. All right, here's what we need. Audio. You'll need your song or whatever piece you've selected for this. In our case, it's going to be a song. Software. Either the NLE that you already got or a standard audio application. Hardware, camera, computer, and audio playback device like a CD player or a laptop. And last but not least, you'll need your talent, and in our case, it is the singer himself, John Pair. Now you may think you've never heard of him before, but his positive pipes and inspirational lyrics have driven millions to the land of happiness and bliss. He's a blessing. And yes, folks, I'm honored to be selected to do his music video. I only hope I can live up to his expectations. Okay, on to the recipe. Now the secret here is in the audio and your on-screen talent's abilities, but more on that in a minute. But basically you need to get your audio and speed it up to twice as fast. You can do this in your NLE by throwing it in the timeline, accessing your time controls, and inputting 200%. Then you just kick this out to a CD or just put the file on a laptop or something portable to play. The idea is to play the audio, have your talent lip sync to the sped up version, and record the performance. Then in your NLE, lay down the regular speed audio. Bring in your footage. If it's overcranked, you should just be able to lay this over the top of that audio, sync it up, and you're good to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you need to time stretch it, go ahead and access your speed controls for the video and type in 50% to make it twice as slow. Sync this up, and bingo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, there's quite a few different formulas out there for this method, all which spawn different results. I say experiment with various speeds to lip sync to, and you'll come up with some pretty cool stuff. Now, for my purposes, I'm going to kick out our audio by John Pair at twice the speed, and then I'm going to shoot in camera at twice the speed of my time-based project of 24p. So I'm going to shoot at 48 frames per second. All right, well, hey, sounds like John Pair has arrived. Oh, I'm so excited. All right. Well, it's okay, because I'm here now. I'm here to lift your spirits up. How you doing there? John Pair, pleasure to meet you. All right, let's do this thing, huh? What do you say? Rock and roll, yeah! Wow, what an inspiration. You know, if I was an 80s action hero, he'd be the man behind my getting geared up and ready for action montage. That's probably another episode. Whoa, hey, stop. We don't have time for that. Now that we've got all our ingredients, well, let's mix this thing up a little further, shall we? Okay, so for starters, remember, get your audio selection and speed it up to the desired amount. I did a 2-to-1 ratio, meaning that I was shooting my video twice as fast, so I kicked the audio out at a speed that's twice as fast as the original. Play your sped up audio and have your talent lip sync to it. Shoot as many camera angles and setups you can for variety, and it'll make it easier to sync it up in post. Using a fan and some smoke always jazz up shots like this too. Then, bring it all on your timeline, cut your shots in, sync them up, and... When the weight of the world is on you, and you feel all dead inside, don't fret the smaller things, 'cause you're still alive. You can be all that you can be, if you lay it all on me. I can take the punches for you, believe in me. Believe in yourself. Well, there you go. What's cool about this technique is that it's pretty easy to do, and you could probably pull it off with equipment that you already own. Remember, during production, shoot as many different camera angles as you possibly can. That way in post, you'll have different camera angles to cut to, and it'll be a little easier to keep sync between the voice track and the video. So, get creative and have fun. Who knows, maybe you'll be the next, video star rising to the top of the music video charts. Well, that's about it for this week. Thanks a lot for watching. Good luck. Stay positive. Oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because what I'm saying is something that you know what I'm saying. I know what you're thinking. You think that I'm bad. I know what you're thinking. You think that I'm mad. I know what you're thinking. You think that it's sad. I know what you're thinking. You think that I'm rad. Yeah, I just said rad.
I'm bringing that term back from the 80s. Flowing and growing and showing all I got for the ladies. I'm your ace in the hole, cause I got soul from the bottom of my feet to my face. I'm the whole kit, and don't forget about the caboodle. Rolling with the likes of Spoonie G and Chicken Noodle. If you're lost yet, let me rewind back to the beginning. Magic spouting out of my lips like Doug Henning. Word is just another word like a weapon. Strutting my stuff like a pimp and a felon.
I know what you're thinking.
You think that I'm mad.
I know what you're thinking.
You think that I'm mad.
I know what you're thinking.
You think that it's sad.
I know what you're thinking.